Right, so in this section we're going to talk about record box. We're going to create a folder, adding tracks from your computer to your record box folder, and then adding cue points, shuffling your tracks around, getting them onto a USB stick ready to be plugged into your player. If you're using a DJ controller, I'd recommend looking on the Pioneer website for instructions regarding your specific controller. This example I'm showing you now is specifically to get your tracks analysed through rekordbox and then being able to use them on your XDJs, CDJs, or whatever player it is you're going to be using. Remember guys, I'm not a presenter, so I've put the camera as if it's you looking at the screen. Right, so first we need to look at creating a folder and a playlist. So what we do is we come over to our playlists. Yep. Create a new folder. So then now in your playlist bit, you've got untitled folder. So what we'll do is we'll just call this test, so we know what it is. Yep. So now we've created a folder called test. So if you try to put any tracks into this folder, it wouldn't let you do it. So you need to create another folder, which is your actual playlist folder. So then what we'll do is within your test, there's a little plus sign here, create new playlist, and then it will drop down, and then we'll just put test 1, or call it whatever you want to call it, but again we'll do it for this so we know what it is, test 1. So now you've got the test folder, drop it down, test 1 playlist. So now what we do is we go to our music folder, wherever it may be on your computer, music. Obviously when you first open it, it will be like this. So I'd recommend just making it smaller so you can see. Go to whichever folder it is you want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the first 5 or 6 tracks just so that you can see, right? But you can either add them in one by one, or if you wanted to, you could highlight the whole folder and then drag and drop it over into your playlist. But obviously we don't want all of them just for this. So we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well 6 then, yeah. There, and then simply just hold it, drag it and drop it in. Yep. Now rekordbox has made it super easy to do this. So it automatically analyses it. But if for some reason a track comes up and it isn't analysed, if you just right click and then just go to analyze track, you can select a BPM range if you want. I just normally use the standard one it gives you, and then OK. And if you look here, this has gone blank, and here it's analysing it. And then what will happen is a new waveform will come up. And there you go, so it's been reanalyzed. And once your tracks are loaded in, you can just literally drag and drop and wherever you want. So say if you want this one to be at the top, you push it up and it'll just change it. And you can, oh, I don't want that there, you know, I'll put that there. Or, oh no, in fact, I think this one would be better if I played that last. And you can just play with your tracks and move them about like so. So sometimes when you put your tracks in and you've analysed them, they don't quite go, sometimes depending, they don't quite go to the grid. So what I mean by the grid is, so if you just load your track up, so this is your grid, like what was seen in the Beats and Bars video. So what we do is sometimes they might come through. I mean, this is so good. So all we do is we would come over here, zoom in. Well, if you look there, it's slightly off. Yeah. So if you just hold your left key down on your mouse or pad, move it over like that. Let's just turn this up a minute. So to the beginning of your first beat. Now if you come over to this one here, so now this will allow you to move your grid around. So it will allow you to move it about. Right, why is it not working? Wrong side. So right, so move it to the first bit. Yep. And then if you look, you can shift your grid over, yeah, and fine tune it. So then what you want is your red one at the first beat of your first bar, and then if you just press the Q button, come out of it and just press Q, now we're bang on the money with that. Yeah, so then we can just zoom out and then we know that cue point is right on. And if you look at the waveform, all the lines are all matched up with each beat, which comes in really handy for when we start using the cue points, which is I'm going to show you now. One of the good things about this software is that I found is that it's really good for set planning. Like I say, you can move things around, cue intros and outros of tracks, which is my students have found very, very helpful, and they've found it easier to know when to bring a track in or out. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave these tracks in the order that we've put them. Right, so this is going to be track 1 of your set. Right. So obviously now we don't need to set a cue point for this, because this is our set, this is our first one. So this is the intro of the track. Yeah, if you just skip through. So if you're coming on from another DJ, you would mix this bit in. drop him out, in. Yep. So what we'll do is I want to set a cue point to mix out of this track. Now we're going to use A's and B's to keep it simple. Yep, so what we'll do is we'll use A for out, A for in, B for out. So all we do is we'll just go down to our letters here, set hot cue B, and then that's hot cue B done. So no matter where you are in the track, if you hit that hot cue B, it's going to start from there. But also, that is where you want to start bringing in your next track, which is going to seem a bit more, you'll understand what I'm saying in a moment. So we'll load track 2. Yep. So as we've got track 2, yeah. So what we'll do is to keep things nice and simple, we'll hot cue point A. Yep. And then towards the end of the track, we want to start mixing out of it. So then what we'll do is we'll pick somewhere. So then what we'll do, hot point B. So don't forget, we're not going to be clicking on these hot cues. These are just as a reminder, so you've got from here to get your beat matched and ready to mix. So what we'll do is we will just sync it up. Right, it's not letting us do that. Oh, sync beat, here we go. No, we're not. What's going off here? So sync the beat just for showing what I mean, what I'm trying to get across to you. So we'll just stop that a moment. Come back because it's on our cue point. Right, so you've got all this track to get your beat matched. Yep. I'm going to skip it forward a bit. Yeah. And that's you'll see what I mean when we do it on the players. And then what you do, start bringing this one out, you know, and there you go. That's the basis of it, so you know when to bring in your next track. So then what we're going to do is we're going to do that for all our tracks. So we'll put it on there. So this has got like a bit of a quiet start to it. You know, we can't really do anything with that. So what we would do is we would have our first A, cue point A there. Then just as the track comes back in towards near the end, B. So we've got a mixing in point, mixing out point. Yep. So what we do is we do that for all of the tracks that we've got in our playlist. There and again. So cue point A. I'll go down here somewhere. Cue point B. Notice how I'm putting these points on specific changes of the track. So you've got a nice long phase going off here. Yes, and then at the end of that, not necessarily playing it out loud, but I want to start bringing in the next tune. So what you would do is you would cue it up. When your track starts approaching this, press play on your track, and then when it gets down to about here somewhere, or when it's in beat with each other, start bringing it in. Like I say, you'll understand it better when I show you. So now we've got our tracks queued up. So track 1 hasn't got an A. You can put one if you want. So we've got B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Yeah, we've got our order and what we want to play them in. So then what we do now is we need to get our playlist onto a USB stick. So plug your USB into your laptop or your PC. If it comes up with this, don't worry, it's just reading the USB. Just click it off. You don't need it. Right. So now what we do is, if we go over to where it says performance there, and we want to go to export there. So now we can see all our playlists. So if we clicked into, I don't know, if we go to the old school rave one, which is, I thought it was empty then. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so we want test, that's our playlist. Right, come down to sync manager. So at the moment, because I've already got stuff on this USB, you would just leave it. And what I want to do is I want to add to it. Yeah. So I want to add the whole folder. So if you just click there, so it's highlighted. Just check that it's got your USB stick name there. And then as soon as you click this, you'll see a progress bar along the bottom here, and it'll count the percentage, which is how long it's going to take to be done. In this case, because there's only 6 tracks, it'll probably do it really quick. So now what we're doing is we're moving our playlist with our cue points in the order that we've put over onto our USB. So if you just click it, yeah, look, so you can see the progress bar. So it's come up here now, look. 32% moved. To be honest, I thought it was going to do it a lot quicker, so that's proved me wrong. So obviously the more tracks you've got in your playlist, the longer that it's going to take. So this takes all your analysed tracks and everything that you've done on your software, so it comes out the same on your players. Then go make yourself a cup of tea while you wait. So now we can see that the progress bar's disappeared and our test folder with our test playlist has been moved over. Don't worry, it doesn't move it, it just copies it, so all your tracks and that will still be on your computer in the record box software. All it's done is it's copied to your USB. Then close. So when that's done, if you just scroll all the way down here, find your USB stick and make sure that you eject your USB device, because if you don't, you could corrupt your files that you've put on there. So eject it and wait for it to go off. And then you're okay to pull it out. And there you go. So now you understand how to create a folder, create a playlist, get tunes off your computer onto record box, how to analyse your tracks, how to move your tracks about, how to set up mixing aids, as in the cue points A and B. If you keep it at A and B, to keep it simple, A for in, B for going out. Go to your sync manager. You now understand and know how to copy your set to the USB stick, and also the right way of ejecting your USB before you take it out. I can't stress to you enough, make sure you do that, because the last thing you want is to get to a gig somewhere and your files are corrupt because you've just pulled it out. So in the next lesson, we're going to go back over to the XDJs and we're going to plug it in and we'll get mixing.